We live in a mental universe, according to the idealist philosopher Bernardo Kastrup, who I mentioned in my last video. Everything is in consciousness. Everything we perceive is representation of deeper mental processes, or ultimately some sort of mind stuff that has the illusion of existing independently in whatever physical form we see it. But if that's true, shouldn't we be able to use our minds to directly influence reality? Why can't we think into existence anything we want, or defy the laws of physics? Now that would be magic. I'm waiting to pick up a friend. We're going to a magic show today. And of course the show is going to be by a talented magician who manipulates how we perceive things for the purpose of entertainment. And I should know how talented and manipulative this magician is because he's a good friend of mine.
Yo, what's up, dude?
Hey buddy. Hey Patrick, do you believe in magic?
Yeah, why not?
Come on in. Good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you, man.
Okay, but before we get into it, another way to refer to magic is what most would call miracles, or beneficial events and phenomena that seem to occur outside the laws of nature. But I still like calling it magic. Is magic real? We're driving to Anaheim, where Disneyland is, the most magical place on earth. Patrick and I know each other from the Burbank Law of Attraction meetup group. Quick shout out to Ramona for leading that group. Woo, woo. We love you, Ramona. So to start with common vocabulary, Abraham Hicks teaches of everything being vibration, and that we come from a source energy that gives rise to the physical world that we see, hear, smell, taste, and touch. So our thought vibrations can influence the so-called physical vibrations. And that's the whole premise of the power of positive thinking, of law of attraction. Is that right? Did I get it right?
Definitely.
You're the expert, so I want to make sure.
No.
But how far can we take it? Because Abraham says that if we believed we can grow an extra limb, for example, we would be able to, right? But most of us don't believe it, or we can't believe that.
Or
right?
might
So
not
we don't.
want it.
Exactly. Could be helpful, extra utility. So what's your take on limiting beliefs in creating our reality? Have you seen any miracles that happened in your life?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And you know, I feel like we could give a new definition to a miracle, right? It's having a desire for something that at one point wasn't there physically, and then it manifests into the reality that we live in. And
right.
I would say, absolutely, I've experienced that before in my life.
And that's the whole premise of mind over matter, or law of attraction, of creating a mindset that matches the outcome you desire. And I've experienced that too. I do believe in the law of attraction, but only to a certain extent, right? I think my spirituality is still very pragmatic and grounded. And I don't want to have to believe in something that's unfounded, that's unsubstantiated. I haven't experienced any miracles or even profound mystical experiences myself. But you have experienced what others would call a miracle.
Absolutely. I'd say from manifestations of getting into certain schools that I wanted, that it didn't seem would happen, music pieces that seemed to come together with all the cooperative components and people that aligned just at the right time. Think of synchronicities that you have in your life where you run into someone that just happened to be on the same street you were in some random place.
And I'll give you that. I definitely have experienced synchronicities myself in life, and I do believe in that. But you know, nothing in everything you just mentioned was outside the laws of physics, for example, or in line with some would call medical miracles, right? That are outside what typically would be expected in the laws of biology. And there are many stories of such events, right? Such phenomena. And I'm open to them, but I don't know. And I want to experience it one day myself.
Well, maybe today will be that day in some way.
I think today will be very magical.
Absolutely.
I'm looking forward to it. Now, I'll play devil's advocate to expound on this. Even if you were to 100% believe something impossible could happen, meaning outside the laws of nature, you may experience it yourself, but other people may not see proof of it. It may be a hallucination, or even if we call it a genuine experience, it may at least be idiosyncratic. I have a schizophrenic brother, and I know for a fact that his delusions are very real to him. He has some pretty fantastical ones, but other people don't see them. Now, skeptics will consider miracles to be some type of hallucination, or at least idiosyncratic, but some are shared across many people, such as the miracle of the sun at Fatima. We've come to consider things real if there's consensus on them, if enough people agree on the facts, and if those facts are recorded multiple times by multiple people, such as in repeated scientific experiments. With this definition of real, reported miracles seems to be a little suspicious to me. There seems to be so much writing about miracles of the past, but how convenient is it that so many of the most extraordinary miracles happened before we could record them with our cell phones, or they happen outside our ability to scientifically test them. Like Bernardo Kastrup, I like to describe myself as a naturalist. I think we can say a lot about nature just by observing its patterns and regularities. And they don't deviate much. They're very consistent. So I don't know if anything can really happen outside our laws of nature. I've never experienced it. Now, I do believe we live in a mental universe, that the foundation to the reality we see is mental. So all this around us is like the expression or outside appearance of a universal mind. And this universal mind has some strong beliefs. The laws of nature seem to be the strongest beliefs around. Okay, Patrick, before we go see this majestic place, I want to show you some real magic right now. I don't know if you know this, but I can levitate. Okay, so just stay there. I need space for generate the energy that we were talking about.
Yeah, I'm impressed. I'm impressed.
Right? No, you're not. No, you're not. Come on, let's go see some real magic. As Bernardo Kastrup would say, the world we perceive is the external appearance of a deeper mental reality, just as a flame is the appearance or representation of the deeper process of combustion. So, the physical world around us is what the universal mind looks like from our perspective. To me, the laws of nature are like the belief system in the mind of the universe, or God. And God is very stubborn with its beliefs. They're so consistent that they feel like unbreakable rules to us. But as Bernardo would speculate, they may just be a momentary snapshot of what cosmic consciousness is thinking, an intangible moment from the universe's perspective and lifetimes for us. So these cosmic mental processes seem stable to us, like fixed rules. We know from observation and science that nature behaves in very predictable ways according to these rules, like the law of gravity. They're transpersonal regularities that we can't individually manipulate at will, at least not ordinarily. In this book, Real Magic, Dean Radin writes that there's plenty of good evidence to support real magic, mind-to-mind interactions like telepathy, remote viewing, and presentiment, mind-over-matter feats, and force of will tests, what's generally called psychic abilities. He references scientific tests that give evidence of this with odds against chance of millions to one, in fact billions to one in some cases. He also writes of real-world Merlin-class wizards. It's an interesting book if you want to check it out. To me, what he calls force of will tests are the most interesting because they can give support for this whole law of attraction thing, of a direct mental influence on the apparent physical world. He ran a series of experiments starting in 2008 to look at the quantum observer effect, to hit on the controversy in quantum physics of the mind's role in affecting outcomes in quantum experiments. His experiments were a variation on the famous double slit experiment, where the observers tried to mentally manipulate photons of light to act like a single particle passing through one of its slits, instead of like a wave. And they did so, with odds against chance of a conservative 27,000 to 1 and a liberal 17,000 trillion to 1, depending on the assumptions used. Now, the problem with this magic is that the effects aren't strong or noticeable. They may be statistically significant in those experiments, but they're not powerful. And that's what we may expect and why we don't notice such psychic powers normally. And yet ancient texts are full of miracles and supernatural phenomena. In the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, he teaches of supernatural abilities that can be developed with meditation. Some of them are really magical, like becoming invisible. Others are more like psychic powers that many of us already believe in. Dean Radin writes about the sheep-goat effect in his book. Sheeps are acquiescent believers, and goats are stubborn non-believers. The premise is that skeptics subconsciously avoid psychic experiences. Believers scored higher on extrasensory perception tests than skeptics, and the actual effect was measured at odds against chance of 12 million to 1. As Dean wrote, in other words, if you don't believe in magic, then no magic for you. Miracles may indeed be impossible if we think of them as miracles. Many people don't believe in miracles or expect them to happen. They seem far-fetched and too removed from current life. For many, it's just wishful thinking for a low probability and high impact event. We want to believe that so-called miracles can happen in our lives, but deep down we don't. As Abraham Hicks says, you can't get there from there. We can't get to a place of experiencing extraordinary events if our mindsets don't allow for it. Our beliefs and expectations must match the outcomes we want to see. And if we can achieve such mindsets, the magic that results may range from substantial differences in our life conditions to miracles. On this channel, I want to start to explore more peak experiences of consciousness, mystical experience, and psychic phenomena, because I haven't experienced any of these myself. But I seek truth, and I'm curious what all this says about the nature of reality. Like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see this. There's the magic man. I'm recording you. You're the authority. Is magic real?
Of course, man. Magic's in your heart, man. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. What?
Wow.
Here, enjoy.
Thank you.
Thank you.